genius, as you can see. It's been the running gag so far, so we'd like to keep that. We also happen to play for a band called Iyer's Filter Coffee, and we're here to talk about our collective journey together and discuss various aspects as to what we've done, what we've tried to do, and how we've tried to think out of the box. So each of us will be talking today. We'll be giving you a glimpse on not only the journey, but the different aspects when you look at, say, songwriting, managing the band, and in fact, doing everything yourself. So when we thought of what topic to discuss today, it was, to borrow terminology from the startup world, we thought about how we could talk on bootstrapping the band, because that's essentially what doing it yourself as an indie band actually is. And to that end, the quote that I want to start this off is from a book that I was reading at the time when we started the band. The book is called Peak by Anders Ericsson. So one of the quotes from this book that actually struck, that quite a lot resonated with all of us is the fact that you've always constantly got to push yourself out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, you're never going to improve or pick up something or take it forward. Yeah. So when I got the call from the folks here at VIT Andhra Pradesh, we thought about what all we could cover. And one of the things was the fact that we actually haven't quit our jobs. And by definition, that makes us misfits. That doesn't mean that you don't necessarily have to keep working while doing something on the side. We have the utmost respect for all the individuals and artists out there who focus solely on a single passion. But what makes us separate or different is the fact that we're misfits by virtue of the fact that we have professions that are on a full-time basis, and the band's also a full-time thing that we do. The major thing there is the fact that you essentially don't get a personal life. And if you're willing to sacrifice all those times, you could say, hang out with your friends, go to the movies, go to a pub or a bar and say, have a couple of drinks or two. Well, you've got to probably give up on all of that if you want to make it big as an indie band in India. To move on, I'd like to talk about some of the things that we did over the course of our 2.5-year journey. So the first thing is the fact that you really need to set realistic goals, short-term goals that are achievable, and constantly track your progress. This again ties back to the book Peak, which is a 30-year documentation of expertise and excellence. We're not here to talk about that, but we're here to talk about some of the aspects that have helped us along our way. The second thing is the music itself, songwriting. So when you look at songwriting and creativity, what are the things that power this? For us, what's worked is observation and diversity of thought. The third thing that we're going to cover today, which Dennis will be talking about, is how you've got to apply a do-it-yourself mindset to whatever you do. Otherwise, things just don't happen to you. So we're going to talk about how we, when you look at, say, the posters we've designed, the artwork that we use, reaching out to venues, platforms, streaming platforms like, say, Apple Music and Spotify. These are all things that we did ourselves to make things happen. And the last thing is how you build a network. I'm a consultant by profession, so it's very hard for me to not use consulting words in a deck. So the last point is how we collectively build a network to effectively manage the band. So enough about the major highlights of this talk. I'll just briefly take you through the journey we've seen so far. So this happened around May 2017. So Pushkar, Rishir and I, the two individuals to your left there, to my left and your right, the three of us went to college together. We went to Pittsburgh and we were part of the music club there. We'd always dreamt of forming a band, and that led us to trying out things at an open mic. And it so happened that Dennis was also playing there with someone else. And we got talking after the open mic at the Humming Tree. And we realized that one thing we were really passionate about was creating music that was actually our own and playing that for a live audience. So we decided, well, what's the worst that can happen? You decide to jam for a couple of hours, a couple of days. If it works out, it works out. Otherwise, it's okay. So we tried that out. So we decided we'd sit together and write music together. And that's how we ended up in some of the best jam pads in Bangalore. And we tried our own thing. A few months later, we had a couple of originals. And that led us to the next hurdle. So what do you do once you have your own music? What do you do with that? You want to play it, you want to put it out there. No venue in their right mind is ever going to ask a band that's only been around for say 3 or 4 months to play an actual 2-hour or 3-hour gig. So we had to start slow. So that's why we went through a lot of college competitions. And once we got a hang of playing live for not only college crowds, we thought we'd take it up a notch. That led us to play across the country. So we started off with Bangalore. We hit most of the venues like say the Humming Tree, Fandom, Blue Frog as well. Blue Frog was where, in a way, we got our biggest break. And then we started playing outside of Bangalore. So we played at HRC Hyderabad. We also played some of the other HRCs across the country as well. And then we realized that, hey, you know what? Now that we've got our own music and we're playing live gigs, why don't we put it out there on, say, an Apple Music or Spotify? So what do you have to do for that? You've got to spend time in the studio and record music. So that is in itself a very arduous task, and we got to it. And that led us to playing a launch gig at the very venue where we had initially met at an open mic, which is at the Humming Tree. Yeah. So this is a poster which Dennis designed, by the way, that was effectively our album launch gig. And the success that we saw from that album launch gig showed us that we would be able to make waves or ripples in the indie music industry. And we were soon picked up as as part of Apple Music's New Artist Spotlight program. In the video that was shown earlier, there was a small snapshot of the Arctic Monkeys. And the Arctic Monkeys are great influences for us. And for a very brief point in time, we were above them in Apple's charts. And that led us to getting good press. We were interviewed by Rolling Stone India magazine. This chap called Anurag Thagat is one of the leading writers in the India music journalism scene. And that's where we are today, and that's what's led us to come here and talk to you. Now, what helped us over here? What helped us was the fact that we knew that from day one, if you think you're going to play an NN7 in a year's time, well, you're kidding yourself. You can't do that. It just never happens. But what you can do is set yourself incremental goals. And every time you achieve one of these goals, it should always ensure that you set the bar higher every single time after. And that's what we've tried to do over this 2.5-year period. And once we saw what we'd done with the first album, we decided that it would be a good time to record and launch a second full-length album. And as part of that, we're going to be part of Bits Pilani Oasis headlining act. We're also doing Music Mojo next month. So these are the goals that we set up for ourselves over the next 3-month period. And that's the first point that I want to talk about. But enough about the journey, the milestones and all of that. You can hear Rashil and Pushkar talk about the creativity and the songwriting process.
Check, yes. Hello, my name is Rashil, and I'm standing on the red carpet right now. I do most of the writing for the band, and I just quickly wanted to take you guys through our creative process as a band. So I've not been writing for a long time at all. Oh yeah, that's us in our creative zones, I think. Yeah. We've been writing for around 4 years now. I do most of the lyrics. They write their respective parts, and then we put all of them together and try to figure it all, come up with something which you all will like. So how do we start with the process? The first thing I like to call this step discovery, and what you do there is you try to understand what are you trying to write about. You try to understand who are you trying to write for, and once you have all of these bits in place, you set up a context for the song. It's not really, you don't have to be good at writing to actually write a song. Believe me, like, I can say that. Yeah. But at the same time, with enough practice, you will get something on target. Like, you write 5 songs, one of the songs you'll be like, okay, I think this is something which I can share with people, and that's when you go out and you share it with your friends, you share it with the bigger circle, and so on and so forth. And once sort of the discovery process is done, that's when you hit the creation process. The creative process is the more manufacturing of the song, if you want to call it that. And that is where you come up with the content of the song. You look at the people you want to be inspired by. You look at the music which inspires you. You look at other art forms which inspire you. You put all of this together, and voila, you've got a song. And yeah, it's not that tough. I think Pushkar wants to add a few more things to this. Yes, you do? Okay, good.
Let me take the red dot now. So he talked about manufacturing the song. So apologies for the engineering and management terms. We are engineers at the end of the day. So once the song has been manufactured, we have written and the creative process is done. Now you need to deploy it out. You need to put it out to the people because at the end of the day, you're a performance artist and you need an audience. So there are iterations that you take to refine this product that you have. So let's say if Rushi writes a song, the first thing he does is once he is happy with what he's written, he's going to come out to three of us and he's like, hey, look what I've written. How does it sound? We are going to give him feedback. He may or may not take the feedback, but that's how the process goes. And then we write our individual parts on top of that. And once we have a rough structure of the song ready, then what we do next is we're going to record a demo of the song. And then we are going to reach out, we're going to have this rough recorded product that we have, and we're going to share it with our friends, with our family, and whoever is close to the band and say, hey, how is this? We're working on this stuff. How does it sound? Again, there's going to be a lot of feedback coming your way. Some of them good, most of them bad, but you need to filter through it and you need to figure out where you're going. And once you have your demo ready and you know that, hey, this song is going to work, hey, this song is not going to not work, that's when you hit the studio and iron out all the pieces, and then you have a fresh, caffeinated product ready at the end of it. So next we have Dennis, the bassist of our band. He's also our chief design officer. So he's going to be talking to you about some of our DIY stuff.
Hey guys, so how many of you are familiar with the term indie music? Can I have a show of hands? Yeah, not many. So indie music is basically defined as music which is not backed by any producer or any good big label, which means the money that you're putting into the music comes from your own pocket. So how do you survive in a scene, in India scene where it's pretty dominated by Bollywood music and you're looking at in the English music? So one of the things that we go ahead with is do it yourself. So while Rochelle is on songwriter duties, he's writing songs and everything, the three of us who are pretty much free, we thought we'd pick up some other additional responsibilities which can keep the band going. So here, I had a design background, so I took up artworks and designing, video editing, other stuff. Pushkar is a coding guy in the band, so he's a techie, he took guitar tech, mic tech, everything. And being the consultant, Iyer here is the band manager, the PR guy, and all those responsibilities. Another thing, this is how you save money, but you need to make money as well. So we went with, since all of us were engineers, we had our day jobs, we took a call and decided, let's go ahead with our day jobs, take that money, put it into the passion that we want to follow. So because you have to survive in a city like Bangalore where the bills are high and also you have to pay for studio sessions, jam sessions. So it's basically either you go to a commercial way or make money from your job, take that money and put it into what you love. And how do we manage all this? I think Iyer will be adding to that.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. So when I look at the band, and I'll continue the startup analogy that we kicked the talk off with. So Rishabh would be the chief product officer. Pushkar would be the chief technical officer, technology officer, whatever it is. And Dennis would be your CDO and CM. And I would be the chief sales guy because I, in fact, do that for a living as well. So now that you know how the songwriting process works and how some of the inner workings with regards to financing the band happens, the next thing you need to know is how you manage a band. And for that, you need to build a network. So we have songs that we want to take to market, but it's not like it's a very welcoming community industry for outsiders like we were 2.5 years ago. So you have to get your hands dirty, you've got to hit all the venues, got to pick up the phone, talk to them, got to reach out to them on Instagram, social media, and all of that. And above all of this, you've also got to talk to musicians. So this aspect of the community is probably the most giving. And we've, over this short journey, we've gotten a lot of good feedback and help from musicians like Warren Mendoza from Black Star Blues, Tejas Menon from his own band called Tejas, and quite a lot of other musicians. Some of them, they're a part of illustrious bands that have been around in the India indie scene for the last 20 to 30 years. So these are the three things that you need to look at when you're managing the band. But over and above all of the four things that we called out, you should also figure out a way to have fun, which is what we try to do every now and then. I'd like you to focus on some of the photos that are to your top of the screen. So that's us after recording our second album and hitting 100K listens in Apple Music and Spotify. So if you don't figure out how to have fun on stage, you will never be able to continue doing it. And it's not a sustainable project. That brings this talk to an end, but the last thought that I want to leave you guys with is one of my favorite quotes, which talks about how, it's by an American actor from the 60s and 70s called Jack Lemmon, and he's always said that no matter how successful you get, you should always remember to send the elevator back down. And in a way, that's what a lot of musicians have done for us, and that's what we want to do for some of the budding musicians that may be out there. Thank you.